Hello and welcome to VergerTV, where we explore everything about the Episcopal Church and the ministry of the Verger. This video is all about the board election coming up on Saturday, September 26, 2019 at our annual conference in Camp Allen. Today we're quickly introducing the 6 nominees who are standing for election for the 4 seats on the 9-member board. That's really a lot of numbers, and those hand signals are also really hard. As we discussed on VergerTV a few weeks ago, this is the last year we're going to be conducting the election at the annual conference. In 2020, the entire membership will be voting for board members electronically. So be sure to check out that video for much more information. I know you'll be interested in this video about what each nominee has to say, so stay tuned. Be sure to check out vergers.org for tons of information about vergers, sacristans, and worship leaders. If you're not already a VergerTV subscriber, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also give this video a thumbs up because it really helps the channel a lot. Also, check out the description below for links and more information about this video. And now, the nominees are... I'm Scott Smith, president of the Vergers Guild of the Episcopal Church. Today we're talking with the 6 nominees standing for election to the VGEC board in 2019. Each nominee is presented here in alphabetical order, and each nominee was asked the same 5 questions.
My name is Martha Sue Blythe. I serve at St. Martin's in the Field Episcopal Church in Atlanta, Georgia. The joy I receive as serving as a verger in my congregation is welcoming people to Sunday worship and liturgical services, ensuring people have the experience they have come to expect and receive on any given Sunday in our parish, ensuring services are seamless and smooth without distraction is very gratifying to me. Also growing, mentoring, and encouraging our youth who are serving in our liturgical services, and probably best of all, I believe the role of the verger is the best role in the parish. I presently serve as chairperson of the Diocese of Atlanta Verger chapter. We have an outstanding board of directors who are great leaders in the chapter. We have a great relationship with our bishops and ministry leaders. We are one of the largest and most active verger chapters in the United States. We are always striving to engage new people in every aspect of our organization, and we believe greater involvement leads to a stronger organization. I've worked with major technological firms for over 40 years. Perhaps one of the most frustrating technology situations I've encountered on multiple occasions is when a program is designed to work with a specific browser, such as Foxfire, Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, etc., and the user is not told you may encounter program issues if you do not use a specific browser. I always try to resolve my technology issues myself, but when all my resource avenues fail, I call the support desk to work through the issues with me. I'm not afraid to ask for help. Recently, I had a disagreement with our head verger at my parish. It was a really busy Sunday and the acolytes were all in. I'd arrived about an hour early and gotten things set up, and about 15 minutes before the service, the head verger came in and started barking orders to. Finally, after there had been several interruptions, I turned to the head verger and said, you know, just a reminder, I am the head verger today. Unbeknownst to me, this offended the head verger. Several days after that, I needed to speak with her, and she wouldn't take my calls, and things seemed to drift. Finally, we got on the phone together, and after that, we basically agreed that we saw each other's point of view, and the issue is long since behind us at this point in time. There's several skills and traits which I possess that I feel will help me be an effective board member. I'm a logical thinker. I believe in end-to-end planning on all projects, and I have a master's in project management. I believe in working in an inclusive, collaborative team environment. The more, the merrier. Recruiting people to become engaged in teams and events is a baseline skill for me. Expanding the Verger ministry is important to me, both at the diocese and at the national level. And probably above all, I feel called to this ministry and believe my skills, experience, and attributes can make a significant contribution to the leadership board of the VGEC.
I'm Thurl Headen, and I'm the head verger at the Cathedral Church of St. Luke in Portland, Maine. For me, one of the biggest joys is knowing that we've created a safe space for people to come where God can meet them, and a place for the clergy to be able to serve their congregation and to have the Spirit there is a very powerful thing. And when it happens, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. When I lived in Chicago as part of a studio in teaching adults chamber music, myself and my friend Nora Williams created this space for adults to come together and learn chamber music and to get outside of themselves and expand. And in creating that, how you lead people into doing things that they don't think they can do and giving them the tools to help them find that. And it's a really great joy when all of a sudden that happens and it clicks. So that was probably the one experience I can really recall clearly. With technology, when something presents itself that I don't know, I don't have a specific example, but I will retrace my steps to see where something went awry. If that doesn't work, then I start researching via Google, like what can I do? What didn't I do correctly? And then once I start reading through it, more information gives me more information to go forward. And then usually I can resolve the issue without too much frustration. I can't recall a specific experience, but I know my personality well enough that if something does arise and there is a situation, it takes that moment of stepping back and not letting our own stuff get in the way, but recognizing it and then recognizing what is going on and one, apologizing to the individual just to say, I'm sorry, but where can we start? Where can we start this conversation so we can resolve this together and not sitting across the table from one another full of animosity? So working together with someone and realizing that I'm bringing to this situation something that I need to address as well. Before moving to Maine, I worked in the restaurant industry for 30 years in many capacities, front of house, office manager, whatnot. So working in that environment, you're able to think quickly on your feet and being able to see solutions where you know there's not one. And also the accounting bit that I did with the restaurant I worked with, it was a multi-million-dollar restaurant, and not being an accountant, but I was able to work with that and do a very good job for, I worked at the same restaurant for 30 years. Also, I work very well with people and getting them to come together and helping them recognize their strengths and pulling that out. And I help support people. I'm very good at that and giving them the tools they need to go forward and do the things they need to do.
My name is Ann Davis McClain, and I serve as head verger at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Parish, Kentucky. I am a planner, and I like to make sure everything goes smoothly. My joy comes from making sure that everybody who is involved in the service knows their duty and does it when they're supposed to do it. I always look out and make sure that the readers are there, make sure that the chalice bearers are there. I even go so far as to read through the readings in case that the readers are not there, but I try to make it as smooth as possible. I am the chairman of the Fall Benefit Committee for our local YMCA, and this coming Saturday is our annual fall benefit. I have been on the phone with the caterer, with the floral person, with the blackjack dealer, and all these different people at the Y, making sure that everything is in place and everything is going to run smoothly. I've been involved with the Y in this particular event for 15 years, so I sort of know how things are supposed to go, but you never can count on it. So you got to be prepared for all these little things that could pop up. Currently at the church, we use QuickBooks for our bookkeeping system. We use another program for our contributions, and they don't talk to each other. We have bought a new system. I'm in the process of inputting all of our data right now. So this has been my biggest technology problem, is trying to get our vestry to buy this program so that I can have everything talk to each other, and I don't repeat myself on so many things. I've been a verger since 2007. I started being a verger with another woman at that time here at St. Peter's. There was a time when she started to become a little hostile toward me, and I couldn't decipher why. She refused to tell me the underlying problem, but the problem was she was also the parish secretary, and our priest at that time was having the same problem with her. So when I finally did go to my priest and say, we're having a disagreement and I don't know why, she said, oh, well, we're having the same problem. And so she had to terminate her. I serve on numerous boards currently, and I have served on many in the past as well. I have a background in finance, which I think every board is looking for. I have been senior warden for 2 times when we were looking for a priest, and I understand how the church runs. I know what's involved. I have been deputy to General Convention for 4 times, and I know I know the broader picture. I've served on the Prebrook Liturgy and Music Committee twice, and I've served on the Stewardship Committee. I know about raising money. So I feel like I have a lot of gifts that the board could use.
My name is Stephen Rowe. I'm the verger at St. Gabriel's Episcopal Church in Douglassville, Pennsylvania. We're about 30 miles outside of Philadelphia. What brings me the most joy of being the verger at St. Gabriel's is allowing the clergy to do what they need to do as far as pastoral care, attending to the congregation, and not being overly concerned with or being worried about the logistics of the service. As an example, we have a new priest in charge at St. Gabriel's. He's been with us for 2 months now, and he didn't have one where he came from before. And he thanks me every Sunday because he enjoys me being up front with him, because he knows that things will be taken care of. About 7 years ago, I was asked to become the secretary of my Masonic Lodge. The secretary is part of the leadership in the lodge, where as the secretary, I'm responsible for mailing the notices on time, the monthly notices on time. When people petition the lodge for membership, I receive those petitions, and I have a certain process that I have to follow in order for it to be presented to the lodge. I keep the membership records of the lodge. I keep those up to date with our lodge and with the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. I had taken over from a gentleman who had done it for about 10 years and it kind of slacked off a little bit. And I think I have done a job where gotten things back up to snuff. A frustrating thing with technology that I've dealt with is working with computers and cell phones every day as a computer forensic examiner. I've been doing that for about 9 years now. And I've learned that each have their own limitations. You have to understand those limitations. There are times when I don't know how to do something with an extraction of a cell phone. And there are other people in my lab who I can go to and ask for help. Just as an example, just the other day, I was doing an exam on a cell phone. I did the same process 6 times. And on the 7th time, it finally worked and extracted the data that I needed to get off the phone. When I was on the vestry of St. Gabriel's a number of years ago, I disagreed with some members about different projects. One of those projects that come to mind is that the church owned a piece of property adjacent to our church structure itself. There was some developers who came and made a proposal to build an elder care facility on that property. And there were members who didn't want to do that. So we had many discussions and many meetings and time and more proposals from the developer. And then eventually we all came to the consensus that this was a good thing for St. Gabriel's, and we voted on it, and the majority said yes, and it was resolved that way. I think I can bring the voice of a small to medium-sized Episcopal church to the Vergers Guild board. I have an attention to detail that helps me with tasks. I like lists. I like to write lists down and check my things off as I'm getting things done. I also believe I work well with others where we can collaborate to solve problems and issues.
My name is Bob Shelton, and I'm the verger at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church in Hillsborough, North Carolina.
Perfect.
When everything is on cue, when all the instruction and the coaching that took place before the service and all the preparation pays off, and everybody is at the right place at the right time, and especially the coaching of the acolytes, which I enjoy most of all. And it makes me feel really good when at the end of the service, everybody looks around and they go, "We killed it." And I said, "Yep, you did." When I was a scoutmaster, I remember on a particular camping trip, one of the scouts came over to me and he said, "Mr. Shelton, my hands are cold." And I said, "Okay, Jeremy, put your hat on." He said, "No, Mr. Shelton, it's my hands." And I said, "No, Jeremy, put your hat on." He said, "But Mr. Shelton," I said, "Jeremy, trust me, just do it." And he came back about 3 minutes later and he says, "My hands are warm." And I said, "Okay, Jeremy, have a seat and let's figure out why that happened." And it was, I do that with adults who sometimes act like kids. As an old IBMer, it was very frustrating because we were supposed to have the finest engineers in the world. And I started life out as an engineer and then moved into marketing and sales. And so the technology was supposed to just be right there all the time. And what I discovered is if you follow the logic down the tree of does it work, doesn't it work, as opposed to jumping to conclusion or jumping to cause, is what the problem solvers say. If you follow the logic tree, you'll resolve the issue. Conflict management is always one of the toughest things in life. Lots of people don't like it and move away from it. I understand that it has to be resolved or it gains interest and gets bigger. And I remember a specific time when I had a disagreement with a parishioner on how something should be done. You have to be very careful about how you approach the individual, because some people you can just say it, and some people you have to ease into it, and some people you have to sort of walk around it. And once you've determined the best method of approach, that's the way I do it. One of the most difficult things to do is the ability to communicate and express yourself to various and sundry folks and people. One of the things that I have always been able to do mostly effectively is to communicate with people and to be able to ask the questions to either discover what it is they want or why something went wrong or who needs to do what or where do we go from here. And I would bring that ability to the board so that we would perhaps be able to streamline and get things done better, faster, more productively.
I'm John Townsend. I'm the lead verger at the Church of the Good Shepherd in Nashua, New Hampshire. Well, I get a lot of joy serving in my congregation because after many years of working in the service industry, either the hospitality industry or in healthcare, the job has always been detail-oriented, and I wanted to take care of the little details so that people don't have to worry about them. They can just get into what they're doing, enjoy what they're doing. Leadership at the Church of the Good Shepherd, I began as a Eucharistic minister, and as I progressed to get a little bit more involved, I took over as acolyte master and training sessions for the Eucharistic ministers and the acolytes. And I really enjoy that because they help me do my job. I've had many frustrating experiences with technology, as I'm not the most computer savvy person in the world. But I do have an excellent team of people that I can depend on to take care of these things for me. If I have an issue, I know who to go to and when, and we usually get it resolved relatively quickly. There was a particular incident with a parishioner. We had a disagreement over the fact that she disagreed with something that one of my Eucharistic ministers said. It had nothing to do with me at all, but she thought I should have more control over them. He just happened to use a word that she found to be offensive, which is not. And so I spoke to her directly, and I also, any follow-up conversations we had via email were all forwarded to the rector, and he gave me plenty of advice on how to deal with a difficult personality. I think I could become an effective member of the board because I do have some skills with organization. One of the things we have been discussing is my working with the guild shop, and I think my experience in I won't really call it retail, but in service, I think will enhance my experiences in that. And just the fact that I've been a member of the guild since 2001 and have been to every conference since 2004, I think that just the experience of dealing with the people in the guild and the church in general will help. I can sort of act as a liaison if necessary, and I just do what I can.
I'd like to really thank each of the 6 nominees for appearing on VergerTV today, and especially for agreeing to serve on the board. They've each submitted a short biography that you can read on our blog at vergersvoice.org. These biographies clearly outline the backgrounds and skills that they could bring to the board if elected. It's definitely worth the time, so check those out. And remember, you can still register for the annual conference at Camp Allen. But you better act quickly. The deadline for registration is Sunday, September 20th, 2019. Register right now at vergers.org, and I'll see you there. Well, that's all for now. We'll see you next time right here on VergerTV.